Hello, welcome back to the Rangers Rabble. Football's officially back. It was back on Thursday night as Rangers defeated Hibs 3-2. I'm back from Scotland. Car absolutely gave up the ghost on the way home, so that's going in tomorrow to probably cost me £400, but worth it in the end. I'm joined tonight by Care and Wilf. Care, how are we doing?
I'm doing fine, Stu. It was good to meet you over the weekend, as in face to face, not over a computer screen. And just like to say to the members that appeared on Saturday night, it was a privilege meeting you. So it was really, really good. And thanks everybody who turned out. I have to say, superb. So hopefully do it again with you all.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really, really good night out. And Wilf, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine, Stu. Thanks. Yeah, hopefully I'll make the next night out, but it's not particularly easy for me because I'm like 140 miles away from where you guys were. So
It's a long walk home, Wolf.
I don't drink, so I could have driven home no problem. But it's just I've got a lot on just now. So
Yeah,
that's fair enough. This is something that's got to happen eventually. If we keep on at Martin long enough, I'm sure it will. And we've got a new member as well. Look at this. Can't remember. It's been off the pod like properly for so long. I forgot what this looked like. Welcome, Brian McGregor, new YouTube member. You get access to all the member shows, and then the interviews and stuff like that when they come out first. So check your membership page and community page. I think it is on the actual Rangers Rebel YouTube, and everything's listed there. All updates, everything else, exclusive for that. So we'll start off with the game. We've got another big game coming up tomorrow, which Rab will be covering. I believe Martin's going to be hosting that one tomorrow, so we'll go over the preview and stuff like that. But we'll have a little talk on it anyway. It's a huge game. Obviously, we've at the moment just got to keep winning, and as Michael Beale starts like implementing this style, the main thing is just 3 points after 3 points, really. I've got a funny feeling though we're going to see a bit of a different Aberdeen to the one that lot saw at the weekend.
maybe, Stu. I don't know if Aberdeen can change too much. I don't think that great a side. Maybe come out more attacking against us because I thought the way they went at the weekend, it's if you're an Aberdeen fan, it's not great watching that, but that's the way he thought he was going to get something. They nearly did, to be fair to them, but it can't be great to watch that, can it? Just constantly sitting your own penalty box or kicking things away and just hoping for something will happen for you. I think they might come out more against us just for the fact that they hate us more than they hate anybody else, and if they beat us once a season or get a draw against us, they're happy. It doesn't matter if they finish 10th in the league. They're happy beating us, do you know what I mean? So, but I'm not sure they could come out and attack us. I don't think they've got the ability player-wise.
Hopefully. We've just had someone say, which is the first time I've ever seen this, the music's excellent, by the way, in the intro. I've never seen anyone agree with that. So maybe there is a course of action to keep this in. We'll have to see how that goes. CGM, I know it does look a bit like a stationary cupboard. When we bought the place, it's like a new build as well. So because of the settling in period, we had to leave the walls for a year, which is just about to come up. So hopefully I can actually start putting some stuff up and it will look less like a stationary cupboard and more like a house. Yeah, Wilf, I mean, do you echo that sort of sentiment? I mean, I don't think anyone in particular in this league is that great anymore. Hibs, for me, the fact we conceded 2 was a bit of a shambles because I think they're a really, really poor side. Aberdeen have got some decent players by all accounts. I think their recruitment has been pretty good, but I mean, under Goodwin, just from what I'm seeing sort of online and on social media, that Aberdeen fans aren't really happy with how he sets up in general. So is it a case you think that they will come out against us because it's us, or do you think, like Kerr, maybe they're just not capable of doing much else?
Well, they're going to be more positive because you see, I mean, I saw him on our local news tonight because obviously I live up here, and on our local news tonight, he said that he was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. He came to Ibrox and set up to attack us and got scalped 4-1. He says if he could have set out the same, potentially lost 5-0 on Saturday, he got slaughtered. He's getting slaughtered apparently locally on social media for the way he set up on Saturday. I didn't see the game, but I mean, I know people that were at it and they said it was absolutely terrible. I mean, look at the stats. Aberdeen had no shots on goal. Celtic had no shots on target. Celtic had 33 shots on goal. I think 8 of them on target or something like that. I mean, that's 19% possession at home is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Guaranteed it won't be like that tomorrow, because as Kerr says, they hate us more than they love themselves. That's that's the whole. I mean, the Aberdeen fans on Saturday would have been sitting on their hands just saying, "Well, what happens. If we lose, we lose."
Yeah.
I mean, in the last something like 35 games, they've beat Celtic once, which was the last game of the season. When at Parkhead, when if Aberdeen won, they finished second and Rangers finished third. So Celtic basically chucked it so we would finish third, and that worked well because they drew Burnley in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up going on a run into the knockout stages. So that worked well for Celtic. That's the only time they've beat them in about the last 8 years or something like that. They've had 3 draws and the rest have been defeats. But they've beat us 3 times. They've drawn half a dozen games. You know what I mean? So they always put it in more against us than they do against that lot. It's just the way it is. Their fans will be right up for it tomorrow. I mean, as I say, sitting on their hands on Saturday, they'll be right up for it tomorrow because they absolutely hate us. They hate us more than they love their own club.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as I always say to Aberdeen fans that I come across, and I do come across a few, if they loved their club as much as they hated ours, they'd be the best supporters in the world.
Yeah, I don't think you're far wrong there. I mean, moving on to Rangers themselves, then, I mean, before we start sort of like picking the bones of maybe how we're going to set up, I did want to touch on something that, to be honest, the weekend's been such a blur. I've only seen sort of little snippets of headlines about Rangers, but there is one going around about Michael Beale being disrespectful for calling them the other team, which is incredibly ironic when you think that they won't even say our name at the stadium and things like this. But I've just had a little quick read through it, but for me, there was absolutely nothing in this at all. He's literally just said, the other team need to drop points and we need to win points. I don't see how you could ever make that sort of disrespectful, right?
No, not at all, Stuart. They're trying to make something out of nothing. Like you said, they say there's no for him anymore. There's no Rangers anymore. It's whatever they want to call us. I mean, they talk about it as more at the AGM, they talk about anything else, right enough, but it's laughable, isn't it? It's in the Radio Clyde, it's in other bits of news, and it's nothing. Called them another team, he could have been more disrespectful and not called them in. But he just said the other team, do you know what I mean? None of us even say them because none of us are interested, and if they don't think we exist, then I don't see any point in being that disrespectful, do you know what I mean? But I just think it's not something I know. He's new in the door, Michael, as a manager, and they're trying to do different things to him. Yet Ange makes a comment, and it's Ange's great, Ange's this, and sometimes they're just better to be ignored, to be honest with you, because there's nothing worth talking about.
Yeah, no, it's fair. And to be honest, I think it almost, not a sign of respect, but just saying the other team, he's basically referring to, the other top team in the league. I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. So moving on to our game, then, Wilf, I've actually got your notes up here because you've done this fantastic little breakdown in the group chat of what was said. So I'm literally just going to go through this pretty much.
I have to put my hand up and say I stole that from Twitter. That wasn't me.
I would have given you all the credit.
I'll take credit when it's due, but not for me. It wasn't me.
I just want to say big thank you to Cammy Care, £5 donation, even in Rabbers. I think this is the Cammy that made an appearance on the night out. Absolutely top. Yeah, top bloke. Really, really, really good to meet Cammy. So really appreciate that as well. Great stuff. So obviously we're going to have no Borna then, Wilf. Borna's expected back for the Motherwell game. No Stephen Davis. I'll go through like little bits of this so Wilf, so Kerr can answer some as well, Wilf. But obviously no Stephen Davis, no Borna. Goldson's back in the squad. Are you expecting similar to Hibbs in terms of Goldson will maybe be getting a few minutes towards the end of the game, providing he's not needed any earlier? And just before you answer that, we've got a £10 super chat this time from Brian. And I also think Brian was the other member, one of the other members that come out that night. So wouldn't even let us put a hand in the pocket for most of the night, and now they're chucking in donations everywhere. So that's super appreciated, guys. Thank you so much.
Members must be rolling in it.
I know. Look at this. But yeah, Wilf.
Maybe they'll have Argentina on for the World Cup.
Could have well done. Are you thinking along those lines? In that he's going to have Goldson there just in case, but it's mainly going to be getting some minutes in his legs. Hopefully that we are over the line by then.
I wouldn't be putting Connor Goldson anywhere near the game tomorrow unless he really, really has to, because I mean it's noticeable if you, again looking back on the stats from Aberdeen's game against that other team, to use Mr. Beale's analogy of them, on Saturday there was one booking. Right, there was one booking. Right, they put in 8 tackles. Now they got absolutely. I mean, by all accounts, they were under the pump the entire game. They put in 8 tackles. Looking at the stats, I will guarantee they put in more than 8 tackles on Tuesday night. Absolutely guarantee it. They'll be throwing themselves about, particularly if and when we score, because their crowd will be baying for blood. And I wouldn't put Connor Goldson anywhere because they'll target him. I wouldn't put him anywhere near that unless they really. I'd have him on the bench in case we really, really need him. But just get him back in the team. Yeah, get him back in the squad. But I wouldn't put him anywhere near the lineup at all unless Ben Davies starts and breaks down or something happens to Leon King or something like that. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm usually an advocate for 3 or 4 up. Stick on a guy that needs game time. I wouldn't be putting Connor Goldson into that even if we were 3 or 4 up.
Fair enough. You've made a really good point with Ben Davies because that's going to be a perfect segue into the next one. But we have got someone's asked. I've already lost it. Care how many jumpers you got on?
Got on a hoodie underneath my New York Rangers top. That's it.
Hoodie underneath. And hello, Ian, the Darlington fan, who's always welcome in this chat. Darlington, top of the league. Look at that. Hopefully, going to make a rise back up to in the National League. No, National North at the moment, aren't they? So hopefully they can get back up. But just on Ben Davies, their care CGM has asked this question: does Davies play left back? Now, from where I was sitting on Thursday, it looked like he came on at left back. I don't know if we went to a 3, but for all intents and purposes, he went on at left back. Do you see us risking him there again against Aberdeen that we're probably expecting a bit of a fight against, or do you think he's going to keep the faith in Adam Devine, who, I maybe not man of the match at the weekend, although he got voted it, but had a fine game. So I don't think he did anything wrong. Do you think we just keep the faith with him?
I mean, Ben can play left back. He played there for Preston a good few times, but he's better at centre back. And I feel the issues we've had that night, especially against Hibs, we need Ben back at centre back. I feel just for that reason. So I'll keep Adam where he is and I'll play Ben at centre back.
Do you think that there might be a chance he puts Sands to left back?
Maybe, but I think James Sands next to Davis is a better start than Lundstrom. Lundstrom can't play centre back for me. One, he's not quick enough.
King's back though.
King back.
Yep.
I don't know. I just think Michael Beale. I think he might end up playing a back three. I think he done that with QPR. I could be wrong, but I'm sure done it with QPR. Play 3 to back, and I think a back three would suit us better. But if King's back and Davis is back, then King and Davis is 2 I would go for. And I maybe play Sands at full back, but you have to bring in your 2 boys that are better in there and they can actually defend, because I think that Stu said earlier, his only great, but it was simple balls splitting the 2 centre backs off. It was, and even in the head of the 2, I watched them. I mean, Lundstrom, I thought Lundstrom was worse than Sands. I know Sands got a lot of abuse, and I've only seen the highlights. I've not watched the full game, but to me, Lundstrom looked a lot worse. You were there, so you probably maybe.
Lundstrom looked lost in the first half hour, but you've got to give him a buy in that, because he wasn't expecting to be playing at centre half. You know what I mean? But
he must have been told before the kick-off he was playing there, and he must feel he must trust himself. And he's done it before. He's a sweeper, but it's different when you're playing sweeper because you've got 2 guys next to you that can cover.
Yeah. The first goal we lost was inexcusable, absolutely inexcusable. Getting somebody like Porteous a free header 8 yards out, that's inexcusable.
Yeah.
Brian Minnesota, while we talking about not playing the right left back, this is purely because he had a really good game. I think second half, when he got some confidence and he was bombing on, he was really, really good. But in the first half, they were targeting balls to Nisbet, sitting in between sort of him and the centre back, and he was winning every single flick on, and it was going in behind Lundstrom pretty much every time. So if it is Devine at left back, I think the key is going to be then maybe having Ben Davies in at centre back. So because the first thing he did when he come on was win a header, which we didn't really do all game at the back. but we'll see. I'm happy for Devine to continue for now. I think, as I think he had a very good game at left back. So I'm just going to go straight back to your little breakdown here, Wilf. Cholak not available again. I think it's going to be a simple one. Morelos has scored. Morelos starts up top, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I think Morelos will start down the middle this time. I mean, on Thursday, it was Sakala that was through the middle and Morelos was out wide, because I think that was how they were going to set up anyway, with Cholak and Sakala just come in for Cholak. So he didn't change the system; he just changed the personnel.
Right.
But I fully expect Morelos to start centrally, which is fine because we know he can do that, you know. And he always gets a tough time with Aberdeen. So I'll be honest, even if Cholak was available, if he was only playing one striker, I'd be playing Morelos up there anyway. But I do expect when Cholak's fit and he says he should, all things being well, be available on Friday, I would be playing them both together just to see how they go.
Yeah.
Are you expecting, Wilf, the same sort of attacking lineup in terms of we've got Gammon, Sakala and Kent, Morelos and probably Tillman all starting together again?
I'm not sure Sakala will start, but I think we'll be as attacking. He might put somebody else out wide on the right. If he's bringing Morelos into the middle, he might go with Matondo out there. He might even put Scott Wright out there. But yeah, I think we'll certainly be at least as attacking, because we don't know what the defence is going to give us. And the next couple of games, it might be just the case, because our away form before Mr. Beale came in hasn't been great this season. So it may well be a case of we just need to outscore the team we're playing. You know, so I mean, it might be we need to. I mean, he said in his press conference today we need to start getting clean sheets, because clean sheets are important, and they are. But with constantly chopping and changing the defence, clean sheets are very few and far between for any team usually. So it may well be a case of we need to score 3 or 4 goals every game, you know, to guarantee the points. So the more attacking we go, the better for me.
Yeah. I've seen someone in the chat saying that we need to have a striker on the bench at least, Ken, and someone else is saying Sakala played well. What's he got to do to stay in the team? Could you see him maybe then being on the bench to be that option through the middle, or do you think that Bill sets up his team flexible enough that it doesn't matter too much if we don't have a striker on the bench? Because even on Thursday, it looked for spells that Tillman went up there and almost played like a false 9 role.
Yeah.
And that even with Tillman, Kent, and that they were switching positions a lot through the game. So it looks like tactically we're going to be a lot more fluid under Bill. So do you think it doesn't really matter if the striker's on the bench because there's enough that we can change on the park itself?
I think you always like a striker on the bench, but sometimes you've got enough players in the park that can play various positions. You maybe don't put one on if you've not got anybody. And I know he's mentioned again about Ryan Kent having a free role, so it's not like Ryan Kent's been told to stay at left or stay at right, or he's been told to basically to do what he can do to influence the game. And I think Tillman might be the same. So as for Fashion, I think Fashion should start. I don't think he's done anything wrong. I think he gives you he can create, he can score. And yeah, we know his limitations, but he puts effort in, and sometimes that's what you need. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can have talent, but like Matondo, I wouldn't start because I'm not seeing enough for him to prove to me he deserves a start. Scott Wright's 2 hit and miss, and he's been here a while. No, I would go with Fashion myself, with Morelos from middle and Kent having the free role and Tillman behind. To be honest with you, if any of them, even if 2 out of 4 of them had to off, we should win, because that's enough firepower there to score goals against Aberdeen.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Sakala's one such an interesting debate. I mean, if we just assume that we're going to have that sort of 3 in behind then of the whether it's 2 wide 10s or whatever, but it's probably going to be Kent and Tillman. We pretty much know that. Fashion obviously splits opinion quite a lot, and I think on Thursday it summed up because he had a moment for the goal where it was a spectacular goal, really, like just to shift the ball and get that shot away, and it's such a good effort. It's flying in the spot. He's beat a good keeper as well. But you also get that frustrating side of Sakala that I feel like this happens every match with him. It's sort of coming into stoppage time in the first half. We're chasing that goal. We pass it out to him on the wing, and it's rolled under his foot and gone out for a throw-in. In terms of what we have to replace him, you know, obviously there's Matondo, who I thought pretty good against Leverkusen, but that's all we've really seen in terms of a few minutes, and that was only a friendly. So would you say it's the time to change that around based on his previous game where he's got a goal, or do you think we just stick with Sakala out there?
I would personally stick with Sakala depending on his fitness. I mean, the reason I said he might not start is I don't know how fit he is. I mean, when he came on against Leverkusen, the manager said he was only going to get 30 minutes. He actually got 20.
Yeah.
And then he played against him. So, I mean, okay, we're 10 days further down the line than the Leverkusen game. But, I mean, how fit is he? Is he fit enough to last the game? Because we're going to need players that, that, I mean, I know sometimes in the past I've accused the last two managers actually of having kind of substitutes already set in mind what they're going to do, because after an hour they made the substitution that everybody was expecting at the start of the game. So I'm hoping that Michael Beale's not of that mindset, because I mean, if Sakala's not going to last the 90 minutes, I don't think he's going to start him, because a place like Aberdeen, you don't know what's going to happen with injuries or people breaking down or anything like that. So you can't really sort of say, well, after an hour, it's not like playing a lower league team in the cup and say, well, after an hour we can change this for this, this for this, and this for this, because we know we're going to be comfortable. I mean, this is Aberdeen's biggest game of the season. They will be up for it. Like, I mean, even if Celtic had taken 10 off them on Saturday, they'd be right up for this, because I mean, their manager said it himself when they get interviewed this afternoon. I saw that on the news this afternoon. He said, if Aberdeen win Tuesday night, Saturday's forgotten about.
Aye.
And it is, for all the stick he's getting. It's completely forgotten about, because it's Rangers. You know what I mean? That's the top and bottom line. So if Sakala's not 100% able to last the 90, I don't know if he'll start him. And in which case, as Kerr says, we haven't seen enough of Matondo. I mean, Matondo's played best on the other side, but he's not going to drop Kent, particularly not for this. You know what I mean? So do you play Sakala, run the legs off him tomorrow, and then change it up on Friday? You know what I mean? Because you've got to remember there's another game coming right on the heels of this one. And again, it's another game we have to win. So I mean, it would be nice to be in a position tomorrow night to be a couple of goals up, and then make some, then maybe if Sakala take Sakala off and give Matondo one right some minutes, or vice versa, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think I had like a sort of itinerary of what I was going to go through, but the members the chat keep bringing up really good points, so I'm gonna have to go into. I'm going to bring this one up first because I wanted to talk about how we've been hunting in packs again, Kerr, and it's just so good to see that. First, I just wanted to touch on some sense. Crazy about talking about fit footballers. They're athletes. They should be fit. It's their job. I think in terms of Sakala, it's just the fact that he picked up a knock during the time he was away, so he's been coming back and getting over that. So it's not necessarily he's unfit because he's not fit enough. It's just the injury I think he's recovering from. Someone has said, CGM, I would play Lowry over Sakala. Sakala needs space to run into. If they park the bus, we need more creative, clever players. It's an interesting one because we know Lowry can play out there, and especially if we use it as a wide 10, I think he'd be very suited to it. But on Thursday in particular, we were switching the players around. So Tillman would go out wide and Kent would come in the middle. And I think something that Lowry would do as well. So do you think that's a good shout that potentially Lowry could start out there instead?
I don't think we'll start Lowry just because he hasn't yet, and he probably will in the future, but I think he'll be on the bench. But that's a good shout because, as you know, he can play in the centre, he can play out wide, he's that skillful, he can win into a game very easily. I think Michael Beale will want the players to do that. They want them interchange. They want them to move about. They don't have set positions. They'll have a job to do, but they'll know what they've got to do. Like you say, we're hunting in packs again, but the players will be hunting in packs are the same players, but the players will, as soon as won the ball back, it'll go on the offensive. It'll be your Kent, Tillman, Morelos, Sakala. So it doesn't matter on the park if they're in the left, the right, or centre. As soon as we get the ball back, they'll know what to do. So, and if they're going about the pitch anyway, especially at the top end of the park, it will drag defenders about. So they know Morelos doesn't want to stay in this wee 16-yard area and not really moved if he's dragging left and right. Same with Kent, not just staying in a touchline. So it makes our team think as well. That's what it's about. It's not just ourselves thinking, it's getting our team to think, especially the defenders, because they don't like players moving about. They like the players to stay where they are so they can mark them easier.
Look at this special guest joining us here. It's the main man, Martin. How are we doing?
Stressed out, my absolute box. That was a nightmare. Try to go home.
What, have we got you as a guest? Have we got you as a guest now, have we?
Yes, as a guest.
And he's got his super chat ready.
So I'll go to you then, Martin, on my next point, which was I was just going to go on to Ryan Kent, basically. What did you make of Ryan Kent then against Hibs? Because from obviously, as I say, I keep saying like watch it from the stadium, but when you actually go and you forget how much more you see on the pitch from the seat than you do when you're watching on TV. I felt like people were getting frustrated when he was trying to go past players. He was getting tackled quite a bit, but for me, it was actually quite exciting to see him even attempting that again. That sort of phrase "tricks for the circus" came to mind, and it feels like now that him at least has had that sort of leash taken off of him.
Did you see that much of a difference in him?
I personally did, yeah. Just in his effort to actually go at players, it didn't always come off, but he actually wanted to do it.
No, I get that. It's really difficult because no matter what Ryan does, I think going forward for at least a few months anyway, if he tries to take players on and loses the ball, then it's going to be a case of, what's wrong with Kent? What's wrong with Ryan? If he has 1 or 2 games and then a poor game, it's see, look, he's not consistent. I think, and I was guilty of it, I think he got quite a lot of unfair criticism, I think, when Gio was the manager. And then everybody started bringing up the tricks for the circus and stuff like that. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I think we all need to remember that wingers are extremely inconsistent. Very inconsistent. Will he play better under Beale? Probably. Because he'll probably be given a slightly different role, less conservative. And he'll probably be given that free role, if we're being totally honest. I'm excited to see how he plays under Beale, but it's very early days.
He has known Michael Beale since he'd been 12, so he probably trusts him more than other coach he's put under.
Aye, but did you see a massive difference in him, Kerr, in the Hibs game to what he's been playing lately?
I thought he was playing more freedom, but I thought it was actually like he was enjoying himself. Whereas under Gio, I thought he was frustrated, and at times he was going through the motions.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I think he played better second half against Hibs when Adam Devine was, had got a bit more confidence in himself, a bit more steady in the position, going bombing forward, pulling players away from him, giving him an option. So I mean Kent's still trying. I mean, the first 20 minutes, I thought their fullback had him in his pocket. It was only when Devine started going forward, he was getting a bit more space.
Yourself, if your front three's moving about more, it creates space for others. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
If are standing still, it's very difficult. But if people are moving about, even though looking for the ball, but just moving about, it's creating space for you to run into, space for you to go by. So it's not just about one player; it's about a team.
I think Beale will play a system that will suit Kent better.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what he said since he came in, that he wants the front players to be more fluid. As Kerr said just before you came on, Martin, the players were swapping over the positions at various different times during the Hibs game. And that's what we need. We need, if Morelos goes out wide, we need Kent or whoever's on the other side, whether it's Matondo or Sakala or whoever, to fill the gap in the middle and somebody else to come in. We need the fluidity, because that moves defenders about. I mean, we've all said long and weary that you want to take defenders to places they don't want to be. I mean, there's a school of thought up here that they're going to put McCrory probably on Kent tomorrow night. I really hope they do, because Kent will drag him all over the place.
Yeah, he should.
Because McCrory will do what he's told. If his manager says stick with him, if he goes for a piss, go to the toilet with him, right? That's exactly what he'll do. And if our front three's fluid, then their guy watching Kent's going to be in the completely wrong place half the time, because he'll just drag him all over the place, and that'll open up loads of gaps for fullbacks bombing forward, or for Tillman coming in behind them, or hopefully.
It's all about the support he gets.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because I think Beale will probably play similar to Gerrard Stu in the way that Kent will be more an inside forward than so much a winger. And if he gets that support for left back from Bornat or Devine or Yilmaz, then that'll help him out much more as well.
Sorry, Martin,
I apologise if my answers are terrible. I'm literally just in for work and I'm shattered.
Sorry, Martin, I'm just a young man. Can you explain inside forward, please?
Download Football Manager.
You don't want to go there, Wilfay. I'll have to get onto Nganches and halfbacks. You won't like it. I think Stephen's raised a good point here. Kent is further forward to left. He needs that support. And for me, Devine, second half, Devine was doing that really well.
He was.
And if you do drag that defender away from Kent, he can go the other side, which is really good to see. Yeah. And even when he's moving into the middle, if they're going to stick McCrory man marking, then if we're moving Kent into different positions, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, but Stu, on that, nobody get past marks in the first half against Hibs.
No,
the whole team didn't play well. So obviously the team play better in the second half. That makes it easier for Kent and Devine to do their thing. But we can't lay the blame at Kent for the first half performance because everybody was poor.
Yeah, and I think as time goes past, that's just the only thing. I don't think the crowd were. There was obviously a bit of booing at halftime, but I think overall the crowd weren't too fussed. But I don't know. It felt I just felt like we were still going to win that game. I didn't think we were going to have any trouble at halftime, and I think that's come from Bill's going to get a little bit of time to really implement his style, and we see snippets of that in the second half. That we've got.
Do you know something I was guilty of, Stu? When Michael Beale obviously got announced, I was expecting the first game just every player to completely change and the form to pick up and is to play lovely, lightning fast, free-flowing attacking football. I think I can't speak for everybody, but I certainly felt that going into it. So the first half might have came as a wee bit of a shock.
Yeah,
I think we also have to understand that the players haven't played that well all season. It's going to take the manager more than 1 or 2 games to fix that.
It is absolutely.
But you also, sorry guys, you also have to understand that for that first half against Hibs, we had the defence with 2 midfield players and 2 right backs.
Exactly what I was about to say. Exactly that.
100%.
You have to take that into account as well. Going on from that, then Will. One of the other things Bill said about the injury terms was he wants to be clear and give clarity to players. That's the immediate issue, but so is players returning to fitness. He's never seen an injury situation like the one we have. Does that sort of not justify what the fans have been saying, but sort of prove that there has been some sort of big issue with how many injuries we've been getting?
Well, there is a big issue with the amount of injuries we've been getting. Not just the amount of injuries. It's not just. I mean, there's Stephen Davis away for a scan today on a little knock he took when he landed in training. I wouldn't be surprised if that means Stephen Davis is out till about February because that just tends to be what happens for us. You know, I mean, Ridvan Yilmaz got what we thought was just an innocuous little injury. Turns out it's a 14 weeker that he's now halfway through. You know, we haven't been getting little injuries. They've all been different injuries. They've not all been the same. You know, I mean, when the big Aussie came into that other team, they were popping hamstrings all over the place. So they obviously had a training issue because it was the same injury all the time. We're getting different injuries all the time, and it's important. As soon as a player hits a bit of form, injured. You know what I mean? We had Davies and Goldson coming into a bit of partnership. Davies gets injured. And then King starts playing well against Goldson. Goldson, who's indestructible, he got injured. That's when the alarm bells really started flagging for me. When somebody like Connor Goldson goes out and he's got a fairly serious injury. Is it because they've been undertrained before, or have they been overtrained, or is it the style of training? We'll never know, but it's certainly something I can't remember. I mean, we've always had lots of injuries, but I can't remember anything like this. I mean, going into games like the game on Thursday against Hibs with basically no defenders because they're all injured. I mean, that's unheard of. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're onto a point, to be honest, with the lack of intensity is what caused a few of these injuries. Not putting all the blame at the door of just sort of Gio and their team, but I think that we might see a few more yet, just in terms of as they get up to speed with how Bill wants us to play. Because I said earlier, hunting in packs that takes a lot of intensity. It's short bursts, and I thought it was really good to see when Matondo come on. He was almost just chucked up top on his own to chase the defenders down and not give him a second to breathe. So that's obviously a sign of how we're going to play. Kerr, he also gave an update on Yanis Hadji, who has just recently signed a new contract. This was a bit of a strange one because I don't know if Bill's words were, if he sort of spoke out of turn here, but he made it seem at least like Hadji's contract was up at the end of this season, which no one had any idea about. That would be a bit of a worry for another player we sort of invested quite heavily in and we lost him for nothing. But yeah, he's saying that end of January is sort of a realistic return to full training. I'm thinking in terms of seeing him on the pitch, it's going to be end of February, early March at the earliest. But he thinks he could be a big player for us going forward. Do you agree with that? Or do you think maybe in terms of how severe that injury is, we might have to look at getting him out the door at some point?
I think it depends how well he comes back, to be honest with you, Stuart. I mean, he could come back. You have to wait. Once he starts training, running, it's when he kicks the ball. You're going to have to see how he feels. When he starts playing games and stuff. But it will take him a while. Even when he does come back, he's going to need a good 6 weeks to get back into swing of things. So I think when he comes back, you're not going to see the best of Giannis again probably until start of next season. He's a player I would keep because he's a player he's very inventive. He's 2 steps ahead of some guys in the park, which doesn't always help us, to be honest with you, but he's a very intelligent player, but he's also one of the players who probably held his value, so we could get good money back for it as well. So it's good that he signed a deal, because either way he'll improve our team, or we could sell and make a bit of money on him.
Yep. Cammy's just said, have you heard the rumours about Jobe Bellingham, who is Jude's younger brother, plays at Birmingham?
He's just signed a new contract with Birmingham.
Has he?
Yeah.
Look at that. So they'll probably want mega money for him. I remember at the time when Jude Bellingham left, they were actually saying his brother's supposed to be more talented, his younger brother. I don't know if that's still the case now of how good he's done, but
his brother's a bit quicker and more athletic, but he's not as good on the ball passing.
There you go. I mean, I would just take him just because of how good Jude Bellingham is. Martin, just
so you can get Bellingham in your Rangers shirt.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I want. One of the other things Bill touched on was the set pieces. He said we've got to be accountable for them and we've got to keep working to improve. I think it's just spot on, isn't it? Although we seem to be proving up the other end for set pieces, we almost did that old Aribo routine with Tillman flicking it on at the front post, which was really good to see. It's good to see that that's working. How much do you think that we need to start judging this maybe when we've got actual centre backs on the pitch to try and defend them?
That's exactly, you took the words out of my mouth. The whole Porteous thing against Hibs, I mean, we didn't have a centre back on the park. What did we have? Tillman, who's good in the air. Who else in that Rangers team's good in the air? So how you can't judge this team losing goals at set pieces when you don't have a single defender on the park. It's going to take Davies, Goldson, Leon King to come back in before we can really start judging the team on defending set pieces. And at that, of course, it's a whole new management structure as well. So it's a whole new training setup. It's a whole new set piece setup. So everything's going to take time to bed in. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, just on that, Wilf, I mean, you've already sort of touched on it, that even with the centre backs and I always have to play devil's advocate when you're hosting. Even with 2 centre midfielders in there, no guy should be getting the freedom of Ibrox 8 yards from goal from a corner anyway, should they?
No, they certainly shouldn't. I mean, I know that Leon King apparently dropped out on Thursday morning, right? Well, that basically gave them 12 hours to say, right, look, this is what the team, this is what defence is now going to look like, and this is how we deal with corners. Because from my understanding, he was Lundstrom's man, so Lundstrom lost him, but Tillman just stood and looked at him. So there was 2 of them that could have, and Lundstrom with the best will in the world, Lundstrom's not beating Porteous in the air. But you at least let him know you're there. You put a bit of pressure on him, stick your shoulder into him. Put him off if you like, so he hasn't got a free header at it. It was criminal. It was absolutely, as I said earlier in the podcast, that with the defence constantly chopping the cheese, it might be the case of we're going to have to just score a number of goals every game because we're not particularly good at the back. Because even if we get centre backs back in the next couple of games, they're going to need time together, and it's going to be chopping and changing, because we are going to hopefully end up with a back two at Davies and Goldson.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to happen. That probably won't happen this calendar year. I'd be surprised if that happens before we play Celtic. If it happens against Motherwell, I'll be very surprised. Just with it, with the way managing their game time and stuff. So we probably are going to be losing goals because of the chopping and changing the personnel. And it's more likely to be off a set plays, because that's the only teams ever hit us with a set plays.
Stuart, I think.
But it comes down to organisation and communication. Now you're relying on a youngster who's went out injured, and then you're saying to 2 central midfielders, right, this is a defensive plan 12 hours before a game, or 24 or whatever it was before a game. The communication and organisation isn't going to be there. You work on stuff like that all pre-season.
Yep.
But I think it also depends, Martin, on how do we defend at set piece? Do they go man for man, or do they go zonal, because by the looks at it, some people are marking man to man, but other players are marking space. So what way do we set up? Because it doesn't like it looks like some of the players don't know. That's how
Well,
some players end up with getting a free run, a free header, because
yeah, but
they're marking a space or they're marking a man, and it doesn't matter if you're a centre back or a centre midfield. If you've got a job to do, you should do it. I
no,
might
I
not
get
win a
that.
header, but like Will said, if you challenge somebody, it puts a does it give them a clean contact? So Rangers players have to know their jobs and where to be before every free kick or set piece is taken. And we've lost free kicks and set pieces all season, not just the other night. We've done it all season.
Mm-hmm. No, I listen, I understand that as well. But if you add into the fact that, with no defenders, a brand new management team's coming in. So all this information is getting thrown at their players. And then, like Wolf says, young Leon King pulls out. So then you're putting another central midfielder back into that defence. And you're trying to throw all this new information at these players. I'm not saying it excuses the fact that Ryan Porteous had a free header in the centre of defence. What I'm saying is it might answer why and how much these players need the work put in. Because clearly, like you say, Kerr, from the start of the season, something's not been right. And it's going to take a lot longer than a couple of weeks training in one game to fix it.
No, I understand that, but I just think the players have to know they have to do their jobs better there, because we've had
Of
centre
course.
backs here and they've not cleared the headers. Many goals have you conceded for set pieces this season?
Mhm.
It's shocking. Doesn't matter if Golson's been there, King's been there, or Lundstrom's been there. But I think the goalkeeper doesn't help either, but you've not got a goalkeeper that defenders trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on people were asking about McGregor. I mean, I just had to check that corner back because I must have been on it from the Thursday night apparently, because I thought we had a player on the line as well, but we didn't. I thought we went back to the old Stephen Davis thing on the line.
Do you know who's always on the line? Stephen Davis.
Yeah.
Always.
So maybe he did that in the second half, and that's why I thought that. But on McGregor then, Kerr, I mean, just watch the back. It is sort of just past the 6-yard box. I don't actually know if he can come for it, but it's hard to tell because he doesn't come anyway. He's literally rooted to that line. Yeah. But I think you hit the nail on the head there in terms of organisation. That's going to be so keen, and your keeper's got to be part of that, isn't he?
He has to be. And it's like, I mean, I've obviously watched Rangers games this season, but if you watch it and you watch back, that's when you kind of notice. And some of the players, every set piece and corner we take, if you watch, some of the players stay in the same positions every corner or set piece we're defending. So it's like they've been told to zonal mark, whereas other players are going with the same person, so they've been told to man mark. So if you're changing and chopping, the players might get confused, as Martin pointed out, so they might not know what they're doing. But surely, as a professional player, you've been taught from a very young age how to defend, and it's like someone forgot the basics of defending, which to me, that doesn't really matter who the manager is. You should still be able to defend your area and the ball. You know what I mean? It's just a case of if you see a ball coming, you go for it. Don't like Lundstrom. That's why I wouldn't play him at centre back, because I don't think Lundstrom to me seems physical, wants to be physical, but he's not physical. I know that sounds stupid, but I think he's like a cardboard gangster. To be honest with you, on the park, do you know what I mean? He reminds me of Ian Black, and he's a better player than Ian Black, but he's a kind of that type of player. He wants to be hard and physical, but he's not really.
He's normally better in the third half, Kerr, isn't he?
Yeah, but sometimes not fit enough to get there.
Donald just said when is the game? Games tomorrow night, 8 p.m. kickoff away at Aberdeen, and then we've got the Ross County game following that on the Friday. This has just popped in my head. It's just more of an answer I want, Martin. I don't know if you know. Will the players stay up in the Highlands, or do they come back for that and they'll just go back up? They'll come home, right?
Home.
Okay,
100% coming home.
Not staying at Wolves.
Yeah, I thought they'd all be over at Wills.
They're more than welcome. No, the manager said in his press conference, which it's very obvious you haven't watched he said in his press conference they've got two of the longest journeys. Yeah. The two longest journeys they've got this week, so that tells me they're coming.
Aberdeen's not too bad, but Ross County's.
I only know because I know the driver at Parks. That's the only reason I know they're coming
home. That's simple enough then. Moving on slightly then from the game, Martin. I'm seeing a few people sort of talk about January, because this was another thing from the press conference that, I mean, Bill, he just seems to keep hinting that we have identified sort of areas. I don't know what that means. He's got pre-contracts lined up, a transfer, or both. Do you expect us to make movement in January in terms of a player coming in the door in January?
Yes.
What position?
100%. What position? That I do not know. I think possibly we might see a goalkeeper come in. I genuinely think we might see a goalkeeper coming in. I don't think it depends on who leaves. I think we'll struggle to get rid of folk in January. I genuinely do, unless they actually ask to leave and there's clubs lined up. I think that might be a struggle. But 100%, Beale isn't leaving QPR and coming in and not try to give it his all. And Beale's pretty much probably watched every game we've played this season. Beale knew before. See all that about I have to come in and see the squad and check them out and look the players in the eye. Beale will be like 90% sure of the players that he knows he doesn't want now. And he knows quite a lot of them as well. I would fully expect at least one proper transfer money-wise in January.
Yeah, fair enough. And we've got another new member. It's 2 for the pod today. Aldo, we are the people, becomes a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Aldo.
Thank
Always
you very much,
appreciate
Aldo.
new members. You get access to all the member content, the member shows. Any of the interviews go out first to the members. So just keep an eye on your YouTube page for the Rabble, and you get a community and members. I find, Martin, like you get things in both.
Yeah, you get a community tab and a membership tab.
And a free hoodie.
Okay, just throwing these out now.
It's Stuart will give you Christmas jumpers.
Yeah, I've got plenty of Christmas jumpers, so I'll throw some out. That's fine.
And can I also just give a quick shout out to all our subscribers, not just for members. We're making our way towards that 10,000 subscribers, which I never ever I didn't even dream we would get to 7,000, but here we are. So if you haven't already and you watch regularly, or it's your first time tuning in, then please do consider subscribing. It greatly helps. And of course, on YouTube as well, give the video a like. It helps share it and put it into the YouTube algorithm that sends it around. And on Facebook and Twitter as well, give us a wee like and a share and all that good stuff. And follow us on Twitter and YouTube and TikTok. All the links are in the description. But yeah, try and help us get towards that 10,000 subscribers, which would be absolutely immense.
And just become a member and a donation as well. Look at that, Aldo, £2 donation. Absolutely amazing stuff. Thank you so much. Wilf, do you agree with Martin in terms of a player coming in January? Do you think it can be a keeper? And just seeing from the chat how the chat's going, would you like to see Robbie McCrory get a chance at some point, or do you think he is pretty much just going to be the Scottish quota player for his time now?
As Ross would say, Robbie McCrory's getting well paid for carrying cones. That just seems to be what he's doing. He's not playing at all because obviously he's far too old for the B team. There isn't a reserve league, so he's not. I mean, even when we had a cup game and Alan McGregor got arrested, he brought in McLaughlin, who got a chance earlier in the season and didn't take it. Surely, if McCrory was in the thoughts, and okay, that was Van Bronckhorst. McCrory was in the thoughts, then he gets a game then. Whether or not Michael Beale will play him, I don't know. From McCrory's point of view, the cup draw's not done him any favours because he's not going to throw him into a cup tie to get away to St Johnstone. You know, you would normally maybe change your keeper for the cup. You're not going to throw a guy who hasn't played in months into a cup tie at St Johnstone, particularly because the last time we were in Perth we got beat. So I don't think we'll bring in a keeper. I think we'll go with what we've got because it's all domestic stuff now. There's no European thing to worry about quota wise or that. So I think we'll keep what we've got. I disagree slightly with Martin. I think somebody will leave in the window, but I also think we'll bring somebody in. I think somebody's going to have to leave really because the wage bill's too big as it is. Unless we bring in a loan, like a 6-month loan to buy player, you know. But I do expect a couple of pre-contracts to come in, not to come in, but to be signed. I'd like to see somebody come in. I'd like to see somebody come in on the right wing. I'd like to see a right winger coming in. But then we've wanted that for years, you know. And is
So
he going to
maybe
do that? Because
this-
no, does Michael Beale and the coaching staff, do they maybe think they can get a tune out of what we've already got? Do they maybe think they can make a right winger out of Abby Matondo, or can they improve Scott Wright?
Mhm.
In which case,
Well,
there'll be no need to do that. But that's what I'd be looking to strengthen first of all.
There's talk, obviously. Ryan Jack came out and said he's not had any discussions yet on a new contract. As phenomenal as Ryan Jack is, just for that injury record, I would be amazed if we offer him a new deal. And I don't think there's much in terms of sell-on value, just simply because of that injury record. Kamara doesn't look like he's going to sign a new deal either. So that could be another player you're losing. I wouldn't be surprised if we bring in a midfielder in January. I genuinely wouldn't. I think there will be some kind of signing, and I think it will be for, I say decent fee, whatever a decent fee is for Scotland, because yes, we've brought in Michael Beale, all the fans are happy, but I think this board now not finally, but I think they know that if we go through the full of January and we bring in another loan to buy and we maybe get rid of one or we don't get rid of any, the board know the fans won't settle for that. I don't think the fans would settle for that.
I agree with that. I disagree with you about Ryan Jack though. I think if Ryan Jack stays fit, I think he'll get offered a new contract simply because of the Scottish European thing. Because if he goes, that's another Scottish player off the because we've had European squads light of bodies because we haven't the Scottish players to fill it in the very recent past. So I think if Ryan Jack can stay fit from now till April, they'll offer him a new contract.
But well, me, you, Kerr, and Stu know that he won't. We know that he won't.
That's why I'm saying if he does.
Every single bit of evidence points towards the fact that Ryan Jack won't stay fit. And I'm gutted because I love Ryan. I think he's a fantastic player and I think he makes our squad better. But we need to stop carrying injured players.
But
we have
can
got
I throw
to
this one
stop
at you then? I think Ryan Jack's problem was his body can't handle the intensity of being a Rangers player. Right now, we're only playing one game a week from now till the end of the season. See this weekend, midweek, weekend. I think that's what kills Ryan Jack because I don't think his body's capable of that workload. And when he's fit, he's in the team all the time. So if it's only weekend, more or less, it's only weekend, that might do him a favour. He might be okay with that. But it doesn't address the problem in the long term.
So we want to give a new contract to a player who can only play at the weekend.
I'm not saying we want to. No, I'm not happy with it at all. I wouldn't be offering Ryan Jack a new contract. I think they might simply because of the Scottish thing in Europe.
No, not for me.
Ryan Jack will get offered a year with an option now. Yeah.
There you go.
What about if he gives up Scotland? Would you take him on there?
How much difference does that really make?
He does seem to pick up a lot of
Scotland.
Yeah, he makes a lot of niggles when he goes out on international duty. Is the only thing. I know he gets a lot of niggles with us, but
he gets a lot of niggles when he plays for Rangers as well. I need to make this clear. I love Ryan Jack. I think Ryan Jack's a fantastic player. The injuries, it's not good enough. The amount of time he spends injured is not good enough.
I don't think we're not a player to get out a contract, Martin, and the players that we need to bring in.
Are we all saying the same care about Kmart Roof?
I want to bring Roof back.
No, neither would I.
But Ryan Jack's played more games than him. Helen, I want to bring him back. So see all these players leave. We've not got a big squad, but I don't see Bill getting all that money to bring players in. Because even if they come in free, they're getting higher wages. So
we keep a player who's going to be injured for a good part of the season because what?
Well, you signed two players in the summer, and you're Dale Davis and Arfield, and they've played on and off. But if you didn't sign one of them,
then we go back to the argument.
Jack does well. You keep Jack, and you maybe bring in somebody else, so he's there as a backup.
So Jack's a backup on a.
But you just can't get rid of everybody.
But I'm not saying get. I am not saying get.
So we've got about 12 players out of contract, haven't we? Can't replace 12 players in one summer. I don't see you bringing anybody in January unless it's maybe
we've got a big squad though. We've already got a big squad.
We've not got a lot of money, but even if for free, it's wages and signing on fees. They get higher.
Yeah, that's the problem. We're currently about £5 million over the wage budget as things stand at the moment.
And now, the first thing should be a decent goalie.
End of the season that will go down because McGregor will go because please God they don't offer him another contract. They shouldn't offer them one this season. We've all said that. He'll go. That's a lot of money. He's
not only homegrown, Will. He's homegrown by the club, so he gives us that extra So we have to give McGregor a new contract.
Yeah, but he's also not as good as he was. He's also in his early 40s. He's got to go. I mean, he's an absolute Rangers legend for me. Fantastic. Does a great turn. They cannot possibly offer him a new contract. So that's a lot of money off the wage bill, right? I fully expect Kamara to go. That's a lot of money off the wage bill, right? One or both of Morelos and Kent will probably go. That's more money off the wage bill. So the wage bill will come down. So come the summer, we can sign players. It's whether the board will be prepared in January to say, well, we'll just go with the extra on the wage bill to bring somebody in and not get rid of somebody. I mean, there'll certainly be players come in January because, as Martin says, there's no way Michael Beale's leaving QPR on the promise of, well, you can sign players in the summer, but until then you're working with somebody else's team.
I think Michael Beale's just going to end the season just to target things. I think the summer's a big time to bring players in because there's a lot of players that's not going to be there. There's a lot of players that shouldn't be there, but there's a lot of players that's not going to be there. And I think Jack just gets, in my opinion, just gets re-signed because you see, I think Kamara will be away if Davis and Ashfield are away. And say Jack does goes up, and I don't think Sands will be re-signed and Tillman I don't think either because that's £10 million. So that leaves you with Lundstrom. Even if it does, then that still leaves you with just John Lundstrom as your midfield. So Ryan Jack will get signed on that basis. Even if he's signing one or two, he'll be there because you need at least 3 or 4 centre mids, unless he's going to use a boy McCann more. So it's all ifs and buts.
Listen, do you know what this conversation proves? What a shit show this board have got us into.
Yeah. Basically,
I know.
Because a good half a dozen of players shouldn't still be at Rangers.
No, because they took the easy option in the summer. And they re-signed players that they really shouldn't have re-signed. They re-signed McGregor, Davis, and Arfield. They shouldn't have re-signed both of them. One of them, fine, not the both of them. The squad's getting old. We've got, as you say, there's 11 or 12 players out of contract in the summer. We shouldn't be in this position. We really shouldn't be.
We were told that was being dealt with, weren't we?
Yeah, I know.
But then bringing in injury-prone players, we brought in John Suter. You just need to look at the boys' record. We brought in Davies, great player, but has always had a wee issue with injuries. We brought in Kemar Roof, injury prone. Ryan Jack, all right, maybe wasn't quite injury prone before he got to us, but as he started to get injury prone, we should have maybe looked at a shift in him. We've got so many injury prone players. It is unbelievable. That's why I'm saying I don't think you take the risk with Ryan Jack. I really don't think you take the risk because all it takes is one bad challenge or one. He get injured once getting off a coach, I think. Ryan Jack, that's all it takes, and he's out for months as well. So you're leaving yourself in a position where you've got so many injury-prone players on long contracts. Why would you want to?
Unless you're getting money to do a fresh rebuild, then I totally agree with you. But I don't even get money to do that. Honestly, I don't.
We're going to have to lay a lot of trust in some of the younger players coming through.
100%. You know what? If that takes a season for us to then try and rebuild some kind of finance, then that's what it's going to have to take. Because see if we don't, and we just keep trying to patch as we go.
But Martin, that's fine to say that, but you know as well as I do, the Rangers support won't buy that. See if Rangers come out and say, "Look, see next season we're writing it off." Rangers support won't buy that.
But do you know what the Rangers support? Do you know what the Rangers support won't also buy? Them continually spending and getting better, and us just meandering along, and they win 100%, 4 out of the next 5 titles because we are worried about one season.
Yeah, I know. I believe. I'll give you.
Someone said Daniel Proden. I think that pretty much sums up. The only problem is we've got about 5 or 6 Daniel Prodens at the moment.
That's how long we've had this signing policy of they're always injured, but we could probably do something with them.
Yeah, and I think that to a degree, I think that can work for 1 or 2 players. They can be worth a risk, but not to the degree that we've got. Someone else did bring out a good point, and I have lost it, so I'm going to apologise. And while I'm looking for it, I'm going to just bring this up to Wilf. Wilf, is Lewis Mayo good enough for the first team?
Lewis Mayo played. I saw Lewis Mayo on Saturday playing for Kilmarnock because I was at the Hearts Kilmarnock game with my girlfriend, and he actually had a really good game. He got taken off a couple of minutes ago. He had a really, really good game. But I don't think he'd come into the first team as things stand, no. Because, well, for a start, he was playing at right back. So there's not a chance. There's not a chance he's shifting out right back, is he? You know what I mean? So he's doing okay where he is. Thank you very much.
What I would say is I've been to a lot of B team games this season. We have got a cracking bunch of young players coming through. some really, really, really good young players coming through, which maybe not next season, maybe not even the season after, but I think in a few years' time, we will have some right top-notch players coming through. Charlie McCann, Alex Lowry are ready now to come into that first team, in my opinion. And I've seen quite a bit of Charlie in the B team. He's a class above. You've got young Aaron Lyle as well in that B team, who isn't quite ready yet, but by God, what a talent that boy is. What an absolute talent. You've got Connor Allen as well. There is just so much talent in that B team coming through. And there's a lot of talent in midfield in that B team, by the way.
There's also a young Romanian who's really good. You can tell us what his name is because I can't pronounce it.
I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to... No.
It's Kevin something.
I can't pronounce it. But listen, he's not long back from a serious injury as well. So it'll be a long time before you see him anywhere. I mean, the B team captain, Robbie Fraser, couldn't get on ahead of Adam Devine, and he's a left back. So I think you're a long way off of seeing Kevin anywhere near the first team as well.
Can we say what's the Champions League spots? Is it for league winners, runners up again? I believe this year it will be. The runners up are going to qualification again, like this season. But I believe the way the coefficient's going, it probably won't be the same next year. It will probably
definitely won't be next year. Definitely
no
won't be
chance.
next season.
No chance. I mean, to be fair, they should have been handed a trophy because they get 2 points.
Yeah, that's right. That is
they
right.
Should have been handed
But I believe next season we actually lose our Progress Niederkorn season. So for us, I think we still get an improvement in terms of coefficient going into next season. So we will just start to wrap it up. I'm just going to see if there's anything more coming in. I'll let Kerr touch on this one. Don't know what to think about tomorrow. The first half against Hibs is a massive concern. I think with a bit more balance, Kerr, in terms of having a proper, at least one proper defender in at centre back. There was enough positivity to maybe outweigh the negativity there. I
didn't think. I said to Jill, I want to see the highlights, but I didn't think it was as bad as a lot of folk were making out. Obviously, you've seen the full game, I never, but I never thought we were as bad as what I was reading. So I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow night. I think we'll go there positive and we'll get a result.
Yep.
See, for me, though, the thing is, it'll be a tougher test. Right, it'll be a much tougher test because there is absolutely no way that Jim Goodwin sets up an Aberdeen side the way he sets against us, the way he sets them up against them. Absolutely zero chance. Which for me, by the way, is shocking. And I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it as shocking. No, there's absolutely no way they sit behind the ball.
Martin, he said exactly. Sorry, you missed the first part of the pod. He said that exact thing on the local news here tonight. That he'll be setting out more attacking.
Of course he will.
He basically came out and said that.
Of course he will. Because then he might get a 10% off his director's seat at Parkhead. But no, there's absolutely no danger that they don't come at us and they don't give absolutely everything. So it's going to be a far tougher test. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing how Michael Beale deals with it. How he sets up tactically for the beginning, if it's going his way, if it's not going his way, how he changes it. But it's certainly going to be a much tougher test than Hibs at home because let's be honest, Hibs are a poor side. Very poor side.
Aberdeen's not a great side either, man.
Not a great side.
Aberdeen's a poor side as well.
It's up to Rangers. If Rangers let them come at them and sit deep, then it's Rangers' fault. But if we play the way we can play, it doesn't matter if Aberdeen attack or defend, we'll win. Because Aberdeen aren't a great side.
100% care, but we're away at Pittodrie, so of course it's going to be harder than playing Aberdeen at Ibrox. Of course, it's going to be harder.
We score first, we beat them because every game they've gone behind in this season they've lost. So
I fully expect us to thump them because I genuinely think they're a poor team. But just something seems to happen at that stadium against us with them.
That's because our fans are all.
I think
fans will be up for it. Right up for
them coming out against us because they're going to be forced to probably go even more attacking than they would like to because of what's just happened. I think that'll suit us down to the ground if I'm completely honest. Stuart Keane said Charlie McGann's not homegrown. If we don't play him, he'll want to play somewhere, I guess. The homegrown thing isn't like essential for every single player in the youth team. It's just
that like costs money.
Yeah, in terms of like when you're registering your European side, you need 3 goalkeepers. You have to give in a team of 25 players. I think it's if they're under 21 and they're Scottish homegrown, then they don't count towards the quota and stuff like that. So it's not everybody that needs to it. It just helps if they do. But apart from that, I think we will leave it there. I'm only going to ask just quickly Are we going to win? I don't want your actual predictions because I'm going to save that for when Martin tomorrow to ask the guys the predictions. But will we win, Martin? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wilf?
Absolutely.
Scott?
Yes.
There you go. So we will leave it there, guys. We're back tomorrow for the pre-match on the Aberdeen game, starting at 7 p.m, I believe.
It might be 7:15, just depends on how quickly I can get home from work.
It might be 7:15.
The Christmas shoppers, like, hold them up.
But of course, we'll have the post-match with that as well. So please come back and join us then. Thanks to all the new members today, all the subscriptions, and a big thank you, of course, to everyone that joined us over the weekend for the night out. It was really fun, really enjoyable. Good to put some names to some faces. And just thanks to everyone else that's been in the chat contributing. We appreciate everyone. Good to see you all as always, and we will catch you all tomorrow. Thank you very much.